Oh, you're wearing a Jeff shirt.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Fuck! I'm wearing a Jeff shirt too.
Ah!
Jeff Ritz!
What a way to start the show. If you missed the song last time, you got it up top. Eric, let's start.
Adventure Guys. Adventure Guys. Now it's time for Adventure Guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to Adventure Guys, the podcast for humans and dogs. I'm Eric the Human.
I am Nick the Human, and that is a firework of a start, isn't it, Eric?
I just commented randomly that you were wearing a Jeff Rosenstock shirt, totally forgetting that I had my own Jeff Rosenstock shirt on at the time. So I unzipped my track jacket to reveal the first Jeff Ritz of the day.
Of the day. There it is, pre-show Jeff Ritz. I love it. Oh, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm not going to complain about my shitty day job anymore.
Is it done?
Well, no, I'm just not going to complain.
Oh,
about it.
okay. That's some positive frame of mind. I like it. That's good. I'm doing all right this week. Thanks for asking. But this is gonna be a fun episode. I think discussed on the last one. You're watching these eps one at a time, and you're coming in. You know these. I decided today to do a little less prep, a little less notes, and just see how it flows. Maybe it'll be more fun. Maybe it'll be more fluid. Maybe I won't be rigid Nick taking us doing the goddamn play-by-play.
That's what they call him. Rigid Nick.
Rigid Nick. Yeah. We were just watching. I was watching lots of videos today of bands and musicians I like.
Oh yeah, you told me Blood Brothers.
Watching Blood Brothers videos.
That's a band that like I got really excited about right towards the end of them being a thing, and then I was just so disappointed. Because like there wasn't anything else. It's like this band is done, and I think that was really just before the internet made things like 100% accessible anyway.
Yeah.
So I kind of abandoned the idea of being a Blood Brothers fan.
Yeah, they would have ended in like, I don't even know, like 09 or 10 or something, which like back then, like internet, like live videos of a band was like currency and gold. And like to get like the full Blood Brothers discography, it would have taken a little bit of digging. Like it wasn't just like accessible to go back into, you know?
Right.
And yeah, I watched that. We were just watching Huey Lewis in the News, live videos. I watched some Bill Callahan. They gave me, it's funny is that YouTube, so obviously I've been in YouTube for years. They know what I like. Google, we all saw The Social Dilemma. They're tracking all my shit. So I feel like in my algorithm, every now and again, they'll just pop up stuff they know I like. Oh, you like skateboarding? Here you go. Oh, Nick, you haven't watched a guitar video in like 2 months? Because like I'm not buying guitars. So just like, here's one of those. And like they did that. They was like, oh, here's some like David Lynch interviews. And it was his birthday this week. And then they were like, oh, here's like 4 Mars Volta live sets. And I was like, oh, wow, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole in a few years. And that's been very fun and exciting. And it's just, I'm just like, they're just so good. It's, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Do you think they listen to our podcast and they know what we're saying right now?
Probably. The predictive search in Google and on YouTube is been getting really scary too. Where you type in like 2 letters and it just fills it out with something that you like love, you know?
Yeah. And you know, you can turn off that option on Facebook or Google or whatever where like they collect the information about you. And I went there to do it, be like, oh, my privacy. And then I was like, wait, but I like this.
Oh man,
this is a feature I enjoy.
Future's one.
They know me.
At that point, the future is one, my friend. You're just submitting to it.
I know.
And I'm using DuckDuckGo right now to be like, they're not going to collect my info. But then I go into I'm using it in Google Chrome, and I go to my history, and all my search is still there. So I'm just like, what am I even doing? I don't even know. I mean, I guess the scary part is like, which they said in the movie, is that they are recording not just your searches, but if you type something into the search bar and delete it, that's saved. If you write an email or a note into your Google Notes and then delete it, that's saved. Like they're saving everything. So,
Man, I posted about Lady Gaga's national anthem, and I got a shit ton of Lady Gaga ads. And
oh really?
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Did you were pro Lady Gaga national anthem, if I recall?
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't out enough for me. Like, she has the ability to go far weirder, and it was pretty tame as far as Lady Gaga, but people didn't like that she changed the time signature.
Yeah, it was almost like, yeah, when you're on that big of a platform and you want to do your own thing with it, you have to like, it's like, you want to tweak it, but you have to be very specific in choice and minimal about the tweaks. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, I would be completely irreverent and change it to all hell. Everything would be totally fucked up and weird. I mean, that's why I would never get a gig like that.
Yeah. That's how it goes. No, I mean, dude, I even had a friend who texted me and said Lady Gaga's national anthem fucking sucked, and I was like,
people got so mad.
and I was like, well, I said, fucking sucked is some strong language. I'm like, it's good. I mean, I can see that you maybe didn't like it, but it's not like it sucked. And he was like, yeah.
Man,
He's like, yeah, okay, like fine, like yeah, it was good for what it was. I just didn't like what she did with it. I'm like, okay, well that's something different.
Yeah, that gets me so mad when people say that something they don't like sucks. Like, come on, it gets me madder than it should.
Yeah, no, it really gets me mad too. And oh, dude, like I am with you. It makes me really mad because I've softened with this, but it really got me mad in my 20s because I don't know. I was like, be specific about your language. Like, be thoughtful about it. I'm like, look, I know what you mean. Like, you didn't like it. And I know you, the person who's saying it, like, the hypothetical person that I'm mad at right now. I'm like, yeah, you mean that you didn't like it. So you're saying it sucked. But saying something sucks and saying I don't like something are two different comments. And come on. Right. I'm glad that we're on the same page about that.
Yeah.
Be thoughtful about your language. But yeah, that was cool. I mean, hey, we got a new president this week. How about that?
Finally.
And nobody died at Insurrection Part 2. Right?
Yep. Bernie Sanders is the internet once again.
Yeah. I saw a great meme, which was like, it was like one of those, like, you know, the Drake or something being like, no, and then Drake being like, yeah. Like, he's like, and it was like, make me president of the United States so I can give you all free healthcare. No. Laugh at me sitting in a chair. Yeah. It was like,
I think you were the first person to send me a Bernie meme.
Yeah.
Because, I don't wake up until like 3 in the afternoon.
Sure.
So every text message that you send me at 9 a.m., I get 7 hours later. And so, yeah, so I always wake up and like check all the notifications from the day that people think I'm getting. And your text was the first image of Bernie Sanders that I saw.
Wow.
The first of like hundreds.
I know. It's so funny to think about that now because like it's just the internet, right? Because when you saw the image, I was like, I fucking love this guy. Like, I really did love it. And that was on just like 2 days ago. Now we're recording this on Friday. And it's like the saturation of Bernie memes has gotten to such a point that I'm like, I don't want to see that image anymore. And it's only been like two days. But I mean, hey, that was a great image. Everything about it was awesome. America loved it. Kind of symbolized how we all kind of felt. I think to a degree,
Yeah. Now let's just get those stimulus checks going.
Hey. Let it roll, Joey baby. Sleepy Joe. Can we call him Sleepy Joe now?
As a term of endearment, like Sleepy Gary from Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Told you everyone's gay now.
I saw Chris Farron did have a funny tweet, which was okay, I can say this now that he's president, but I always thought calling him Sleepy Joe was very funny. That made me laugh a lot. And that's the danger.
I love Chris Farron.
Me too. That's the danger of Trump right there, is that he actually is capable of being funny. And oh boy, did he really exploit that shit.
Right? Broken clock.
Right away. Do we have anything else to talk about before we jump in? I'm reading this book right here, which is a book of Lester Bangs, the famed rock critics. I joined like 2 kind of book clubs, and this is the first book I'm reading. Lester Bangs. You ever see Almost Famous?
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman plays Lester Bangs in the movie.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Eccentric.
I should rewatch that movie. It's been a long time since I watched it.
Eccentric rock critic, skeptical of the as a rock critic, just skeptical of the entire form of rock and roll. Like, in order to be good at it, you have to be kind of dumb at it. You know?
Yeah.
You have to be kind of bad. And in there is a dichotomy which he is having really a lot of fun exploring, towards being like, you got to be it's kind of a dumb thing, and that's what's glorious about it. But then there are people who are too, I don't know. There's some material in there, and it's kind of interesting to read this. I'll let you know. There's more to come. The first one of it is like this fictionalized version of him telling his grandkids about who the Yardbirds were, and then all the bands that were ripping off the Yardbirds, and it's like satirical. I don't know. It's interesting shit.
Cool. Yeah. Let me know what you think when you're done with it. And give me a recommendation or not.
I know. I've got a lot.
I've been reading a lot. I've got a pile of new books that I just got.
Oh, hell yeah.
Been reading. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a pile started as well. Don't you love it when that happens? But
yeah,
it's fun. What are you reading?
I just got a new book by my buddy Ben Feliciano, the singer from Younger Than Neil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he wrote a book. It's like a collection of essays and poetry. So I just dove into that. The very first section of it, he talks about the tour we did with them last year. This was, I guess it was 2 years ago. Man, spring of 2019. Yeah. So yeah, he mentions the holophonics like in the first paragraph. I mean, he didn't need to win my heart again, but he did.
Oh, that's fun. Is it a lot of it like music tale based?
Some of it is, not all of it. He's a really good writer. I love his lyrics, and I was very stoked to read some of his non-musical work. It has a real interesting take on his personal psychology, way of expressing it. That it's hard for me to be objective because I know him. I'm good friends with him, so I enjoy seeing that side of him from a different perspective, I guess. But I love his writing. I think the writing is objectively great.
Sweet. What's the book called?
Remedies for Light.
Okay, cool. I'm just bookmarking that. That's really cool, man. Is it self-published?
Yeah, I got it right here. I think he's using this publisher called Lulu. They I think they do like short, limited, like on-demand runs, and this is a nice hardcover book.
That's freaking sweet.
Yeah,
that's a cool thing to talk about in the podcast. Everyone, go check that out. I'm gonna do it myself. Remedies of Light.
Remedies for Light.
For Light. Okay. Sweet, dude. Well, I like this. Adventure Guys Book Club is full on in effect. Send us an email if you want to join at didyousee@gmail.com.
Play that Adventure Guys Book Club theme song.
Oh boy.
You can learn something new today. You can spend your mind the old-fashioned way. Adventure Guys Book Club.
Cool. I mean, I think it's time to discuss the episode of Adventure Time we watched.
Episode discussion.
Oh yeah, Adventure Time.
we watched season 5, episode 11, Bad Little Boy.
Yeah, a fun episode. We haven't done Fionna Cake.
First one we've done.
Yeah.
There's not that many of it. For as ubiquitous, like an image and a concept that people associate with the show, the gender-swapped episodes are not very numerous.
No, they're not. Honestly, like, I've watched a lot of the show. I haven't seen it all. I'm a broken record here. But, yeah, this is the first one I really sat down and watched. Really enjoyable. I thought, I mean, it was an extremely fun episode. And I think what you get that makes these episodes really fun is that since they come from the mind of Ice King and or whoever's telling the story, is that then they're immediately like this episode opens and you've got a scientist running with the Enchiridion, and it's like madness is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess this is the second episode that does the gender swapped universe, the Ice King fan fiction universe.
Yeah.
And his opening story is like bonkers and bad.
Yeah.
The first episode was good. Like, you didn't really realize what was going on until they reveal that it's like, just this story that Ice King is telling. But this episode is like intentionally starts out with like a bad version of that.
Yeah.
The narrative structure, like everyone has criticism about it. It's great.
I mean, I had a lot of fun. This opens up and I was having a blast.
Yeah, it is a little wonky where it like I forgot how this episode is structured, where they do like the short little Ice King version and then it's the longer Marceline story. And I was just like, why is this so bad? Like, is this so zany?
Yeah.
The whole way through, and then they zoom back out and he's got the princesses like telling him that it sucks also. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah, which is fun. And we've got a bunch of princesses. We got Slime Princess there, who I enjoy.
I love Slime Princess.
Yeah, I said that to Sean as this was ending. I was like, I love her. Just her whole demeanor, the voice. It's a great character.
I think this is the first appearance that we've seen of her on this podcast. It's Maria Bamford.
Oh, okay.
She is such a great voice actor. I was thinking I got to go back and watch her show Lady Dynamite again, because all the bits where she does like voice acting stuff are hilarious. I love it.
I really should have given that. Were you my senior year of college? Maybe you were gone. I got one of her CDs and I just like listened to it to pieces. I loved her stand up. Maybe you were gone at that point. That was when I got started checking out stand up for the first time, like you would new bands. She's great. I want to watch that show too. It seemed like it was awesome. I watched a bunch of the episodes. I need to really give it a shot.
I don't think I finished season 2. It gets really wacky.
Mm-hmm.
I love that stand up special she does at her parents' house in the living room.
Yeah. A true one-of-a-kind spirit. But Slime Princess is great. I mean, in this episode, Slime Princess is barely there and audible. She has a couple lines. But I just feel like her awesomeness just even radiates through that in this really wild episode, But then Marceline's hanging out, and Marceline's like, hey, let me teach the book. Or let me do the story. Right? So then she picks up and tells a Fionna Cake story.
Yeah, and I suppose she's just improvising it, just kind of making it up off the top of her head.
But it would seem that way, but then you kind of wonder, is this her just recounting a tale she had with Finn and Jake?
Right. It seems to be drawing upon past experiences.
Yeah.
And the gender swap version of Marceline, Marshall Lee, is a jerk. He's a jerk in this episode.
But she still makes herself look good by casting her Donald Glover as her male counterpart.
I know. But I think people forget when Marceline was introduced, for just a couple episodes in season 1, she was a real jerk.
Yeah, she was. I remember, I think when coming back to the show after having only watched the first season and change or 2 seasons, I was really shocked to find all the fan love for Marceline as this cornerstone character, because I was like, wait, doesn't she kind of suck? Like, I don't even know if she's actually friends with Finn and Jake. Like, what? And then obviously I learned.
Yeah,
guys.
I think she's got 2 episodes in season 1, and she's so mean to Finn in both of them. And then they come in strong for season 2 with it came from the Nightosphere.
Obviously. But I mean, hey, that's part of the magic of Adventure Time, right? True character development. But it's cool that in here she is, and even in the own version of her story, she's wrestling with how much of a jerk she really is, you know? Sort of like Flame Princess's struggles that in like some of our past couple episodes, where Flame Princess comes from a family that she's not proud of, and her dad is pretty evil and being like, you're evil, you're evil. And Marceline's dealing with a lot of similar struggles, you know? It's like,
yeah, it's a pretty loud cry for help. Like, this is a defense mechanism. I push people away.
yeah. Yeah. It's still shocking within the episode just to see how much of a jerk Marshall Lee actually is.
I know, it's almost uncomfortable, like, seeing the gender swap version of that, because like it comes off way more creepy when it's a guy.
It does.
Doing
it
that.
It felt different, and it kind of was showing to me like how, you know, genders change how you experience things. Like, if someone's a different gender, it might change how you feel about things. You know what I mean? Like, and that made me feel weird about myself, because I like to think of myself who I'm not, you know, I'm judging everyone equally. But then all of a sudden when Prince Bubblegum and Marshall Lee are 2 men, like I'm looking at their relationship just differently, which is just like a bummer to find myself implicitly doing that, or to find when like you're saying, Marshall Lee is being mean to Fiona. It feels way different than when Marceline's being mean to Finn.
Yeah, I had to sort of like transpose my my view of who Marceline's character was back to season 1 Marceline.
Mm-hmm.
And then it made a little bit more sense. But also Donald Glover plays it a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has the ability to be charming as fuck, but it wasn't really charming, his performance.
No, I feel like what you're
it was a little more aloof.
A little aloof. I think what you're saying is true, in that they really took into account how Marceline sees herself, you know, and how
right,
and how she's explaining that to other people. So it's like I think she probably sees herself as keeping people at a distance and being aloof and being a real jerk. And then it's exaggerated in this Marshall Lee character, and it's uncomfortable a little bit to see, you know?
Yeah, I think that's important to keep in mind. It is an exaggeration.
Yeah. But I agree. But we get a lot of fun gender swap in this video. And I think so after, you know, Fionna and Cake are there, is it Prince Bubblegum? Is that the
Prince Gumball?
Oh, Prince Gumball. That's right. And they go up and they have an interaction. They're in a fight. And then Marshall Lee is like, hey, Fionna Cake, let's go. Like, who's having? Oh, Lumpy Space Prince is having a party. Like, you're going to come. And Fiona's like, I don't want to like leave Prince Gumball. And then Marshall Lee's like, you're coming with me. And they go. And at that point, I got really excited because I was like, now we get to see the entire like Adventure Time clan gender swapped, which was really fun. And don't you know that I stood up and cheered when I saw Mr. Tree Trunks or whatever?
I knew you would.
I was like, ah! I mean, it was really hilarious because he's got it's like a mustache on Tree Trunks. But then I actually had to rewind it because I was like, why does Mr. Tree Trunks like banging a spoon on the ground? Did you see that?
Yeah, well, he's playing that game.
Yep. So I rewound it and I realized it's that game where you take a knife and you put it between each of your fingers, you know what I mean? And you do it really fast. But since Tree Trunks only has the trunk, it was a knife or a spoon just going on either side, just like left to right over it. That was incredible.
I think the name of the character is now Tail Tufts.
Oh. I love that makes me feel weird. Cause yeah, I don't know. But then we also saw, what was it? The cinnamon bun is there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters.
And for the most part, they all have different voice actors, except for LSP.
LSP is just the same voice, which is great.
Looks exactly the same, except with a mustache.
Yeah. And
which I think is what LSP's dad looks like in normal universe anyway.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like, it's sort of the whole, the lumpy space is just sort of like a androgynous, like gender fluid. So it's like everyone's kind of just a blob of cloud or whatever, of lumpiness, lumpy space. Yeah, but then don't they? They're there and they like sing a song or two.
Yeah, it is. It is one of the more popular songs from the series, I think. I mean, Donald Glover has a little bit of a rap in there too.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's the titular song,
the Bad Little Boy song.
Yeah,
yeah, it's cool. It's funny to think of Donald Glover doing this episode and being like, it wouldn't happen now, but he's just had such a long, fun career of doing all these different things that, like, him doing an episode of Adventure Time. I mean, I guess it still is. He could do it now, like, because he can.
Where was he in his career when this episode came out?
What year did this episode come out? Oh, here we go, 2013. So, like, I don't think Because the Internet had even come out yet, which was kind of his, like, oh no, Because the Internet came out.
I think he was still on Community at this time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is before, so this is February 2000. Because the Internet, which I would label his sort of like breakthrough as a musical force, was with that album. Doesn't come out till December and doesn't start hitting till 14. So he's not a musical force at this point. Just to remind, like, it's so funny when you think about it, because I was following him in college and everyone's like, oh yeah, he's like winning these Grammys and I love him. But like, he came out and he was sort of just like aping Kanye West like extremely hard. And he famously, his record came out and like Pitchfork gave it like a 1 and shat on it. And everyone was like, fuck this guy. Like, he's like a corny rapper. And it's funny just to think about where he is now and how he just kept going. And, you know.
Yeah, I definitely knew his like Childish Gambino persona first. And then
what about, did you ever watch
Community? Was like oh wait, that who's Donald Glover? Oh, Childish Gambino was on this show.
Oh, interesting. Like, so because when I was in college, I was about those Derek comedy videos. Did you ever watch those, like Bro Rape and all that? Like,
oh, I know what they are. I can't really place.
Yeah.
What it was though.
Yeah, he did. So we were into those, like, you know, the Drumline folks. We were all into that because we were in marching band together in college, and we watched all those, and then we watched that, and then I was like, oh yeah, we were checking out like Childish Gambino, and then yeah, but whatever. I mean, but it's funny, yeah. So he did that, and then he was on, obviously, Community and 30 Rock and all these things, and then now he's like, you know, like winning Emmy for best like dramatic, like best show and stuff. Like it's a far cry from being.
He's freaking Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and in there he came on Adventure Time, like as during a part of that fun wild ride. Anyway,
opposite Neil Patrick Harris
in this episode.
Yeah, that's Prince Gumball.
Oh my god, I didn't even pick up on that. I mean, I guess Prince Gumball's like barely in it, but that's cool. That's fun.
Yeah, I think they get a little more screen time together in some of the other Fionna Cake episodes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean the song's fun, but then the song ends, right, and then he's like, "I'm bad," and then to show how bad that he is, Marshall Lee takes Cake and like flies away. Right?
Yeah, that's weird.
That was like the part that made me feel really uncomfortable. I was like, wait, why are you doing this? Like it was a clear pushing away, and like I believe that I am bad and not worth things, so I need to manifest that in the world and show you how bad I am.
Yeah, I guess the concept of abduction was already present, seeing as Ice King had kidnapped those princesses to read them his story.
Yeah.
Which Ice King did a lot in those earlier seasons. This was season 5. I thought maybe
I thought
that was over by the
so
time.
did I. I thought he was past that. When they came out and he had them all in cages, I was like, oh, now come on, Ice King. I thought we had grown past this. Oh, you're still doing this shit? I mean, we didn't even talk about Ice King just loving Fionna and Cake and like, which they like. He comes into the story as a character and is crying and hugging them, and they're all gonna go on an adventure together, and he's so elated, the happiest he's ever been in his entire life in this fictionalized universe. Now, and then at the end of the episode, I mean, I am skipping around, but at the end of the episode, we go into like a hall or like a room where he's clearly written hundreds of books of Fionna and Cake and has created like a shrine of these like 40-foot diamond chiseled busts of them.
Yeah.
Very creepy. That guy's fucked, man.
Yeah, it's this is this is one of the more purely fun storylines from Adventure Time. But they managed to ground it in like a subplot that makes sense within the universe. And you know, have you seen the last Fionna and Cake episode?
No. Tell me more.
The whole obsession that Ice King has with Fionna and Cake being real somewhere out there and having to find them, like that actually comes to a head, and there's an end to that actual like in-universe subplot.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, it makes sense in the context of everything, even though it's really just sort of like a fun fan servicey kind of thing. That, you know, the whole gender swap concept is, I think, one of the biggest traits of this show that makes it resonate with fans so much, because it encourages like experimentation with the format.
Yeah.
And the whole, you know, fan art community that people just do their own Adventure Time drawings and ship different characters together. That's all based on like the show doing it first on their own. It's like they just gave you the whole alternate universe of this cartoon. When was the first Fionna and Cake episode? Season 3? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Keep going.
But it just immediately injects like this creativity into the format that fans can run with. I think these episodes went a long way in establishing what the fan base was excited about.
Amen. I love that. It's true, and it just really hits you over the head when it starts, and they even do the updated theme song, which is great, and it just feels inclusive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it just feels good for everyone, even though I'm a fucking cisgender male, whatever. Like, it's still fun to like be like, oh yeah, that's the character I relate to, and it's a woman. And like, I'm not saying I can't relate to female characters. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying that there is something that's fun about that, where it's like, I don't know, like it makes you interact differently with that character when I've been relating to a young male the whole show, because that's like my experience. And then they flip it and you go, oh no, wait, I can still relate to that character in that same way. It's almost like teaching me a lesson implicitly and like making me interact with the character in a different way. And I think that's really fun. And as a children's show, I think really valuable to be teaching that lesson to kids, you know, and having them experience. Like if I was a young boy, that would have been a kind of a mind blower, and maybe even making me feel uncomfortable. That like, because you like boy shit, you know, and then all of a sudden that boy character that you love so much is a girl, but wait, it's the same person, and you're relating to them in the same way, and in some ways they might even be like kind of funnier in some part. You know, it's like that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's important that they do it without it being a gag.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's earnest and it's real, and they're not making fun of it, because there's decades of like Bugs Bunny putting on women's clothes and it being a joke.
Yeah.
And that's not at all what this is.
Yeah. Or they become a woman and they're like hot now, or they're ugly, or they don't want anything to do with them, or like things change because your sex changed. If you were a woman, things would be different. Things would change. And what's so great about this is like, I don't know, you could be a different sex and it could be fundamentally the same. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's cool. Yeah, really great stuff. But anyway, they come to a head. They get into a scrap. Fionna Cake and Marshall Lee. Marshall Lee falls on a spear, thinks he's dead. Fionna calls out Marshall Lee, being like, "You always flirt with me. You're messing with me. Like, goddamn, stop it. You're dying." And he's like, whoa, I'm just kidding, and whatever. And then they make up. And it kind of ends there, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. But it's cool. I like it too. I like this episode a lot. It's like you're closer to Marceline. It shows that she's self-aware. She appreciates Finn and Jake. She tells Fionna like that you're like the most badass real person I've ever met, which is great. And I always appreciate that. Being actually honest outweighs like any sort of aesthetics or affectations you could put on. But in that thing, I did enjoy that Marshall Lee plays a guitar and not a bass. That's a small aesthetic difference, but that enjoyed that. Guitar almost sounded like a ukulele or something, but that was fun. Any other highlights for you from the app?
I think that covers it.
Nice.
You want to play Did You See the Snail?
Oh, yeah.
Nick, did you see the snail?
I did not see the snail. Eric, did you see the snail?
Yes, I saw the snail.
Boy! It's been a while since we heard my song.
Play that theme song, baby.
One second, I'm sorry.
Congratulations, my friend. Saw the snail and I can't even begin to pretend to know where the guy was. Not till next week comes.
Eric Daino.
You're the champion.
Okay.
Sean
I
saw
thought this one was pretty easy, man. You missed it?
Sean saw the snail. Well, again, I think I opened saying I only watched it once. And something happened in the middle of the episode where I got distracted. I forget what it was. And I remember thinking, God damn it, I probably just missed the snail when I had to like get up and do something. Where was it?
I think it was after Marceline finished telling the story.
Oh.
But before Ice King left to go visit his shrine.
Oh, shit.
It was towards the end of the episode, just sitting on the ice throne, and it was pretty big relative to scale, so I thought you would have seen it.
Damn it. I don't know what the hell I was looking at. Ugh. I got to redeem myself next time. Ugh. Oh,
Well, that was Did You See the Snail? It's time for some miscellanea mania.
Ew.
There's things you may not know. Those Eric and Nick will show you all the trivia in miscellanea mania.
All right. I mean, we got some fun, like the voices, which would probably be the biggest fun of the mania, right? Is there anything else that you wanted to?
This is the very first episode of the series to be completely absent, void of Finn and Jake.
Yeah, they don't even like introduce the story or appear at the end or anything. Wow.
Yep, they are nowhere to be seen. I thought that there were plenty of episodes of this show that do that, but apparently they don't start until the middle of season 5.
That's cool. That's a great piece of Mania. Did you see also that it in 2000 oh no, I'm looking at the goddamn, I had the wrong episode up. I was surfing trying to figure out when the first Fionna Cake episode was, which was in season 3, and I pulled up the wrong You go again.
So we see the Enkai Ridian briefly in this episode. Sometimes when it appears, I think this is in a few different episodes, you see the date 8/13/21.
Yes. What is up with this?
I don't think anyone knows, but that's happening later this year. So maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, what the fuck? That is wild. I hope they have something planned.
Maybe Pendleton Ward has something planned.
I hope he does. Can't plant that Easter egg and then just walk away from it, you know? We need something. That's cool. I mean, the thing I was going to bring up was that the original, just to further illustrate your point, it's not about this episode, but in 2011, it was the Cartoon Network's highest rated telecast was the original Fionna Cake episode. So it was extremely popular.
Wow.
And it was the highest of the episode, like, to that point. Or highest for all of Adventure Time to that point. And it wasn't broken until the 4th season. With episode Burning Low, which is a Princess Bubblegum. But yeah, pretty interesting. Just the power of Fionna Cake. It's a good one.
That is really interesting because you figure the appeal of gender swapping characters is that you know these characters so well and you love them and you want to see an alternate version of them. So how did the alternate version episode become the highest rated episode?
Yeah, it's
like the most viewed episode. Right? Like you figure, I don't know how the ratings actually went with the show. Was it a slow burn? Did it increase as the show went on?
That's a great thing,
because you had to be familiar with the show and the characters in order to appreciate alternate versions of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in that, and I just wonder how it works for these shows. You know, Adventure Time and cartoons in general, I also have to admit, is that it's an event episode. So I bet you have people who watch Adventure Time but maybe didn't watch it every week when it came out and didn't keep up with the new episodes or watched it here and there. And then you get a first, probably one of the first true event episodes of Adventure Time, Fionna Cake, and maybe it just like galvanized the people from the previous 2+ seasons who were watching it sometimes and were like, all right, let's watch this now. That's the only reasoning I can really make of it, because it is kind of curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what typical viewership is supposed to be, because I've never watched these. I mean, I don't know if people that watch the shows know what the viewership numbers are anyway.
Yeah.
But I've never watched it on a television, like on cable or whatever. I've only ever watched these via streaming services or downloads.
Yeah. Same. I know. It's weird. I'd be curious too to know if it was a slow burn or if like it got really popular in season 2 and 3 and then kind of like stabilized for future seasons. I'd love to know it. We could figure it out. Maybe that's a project.
You know, it went 10 seasons. You figure they wouldn't have kept it around if it wasn't being watched.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And if it wasn't being profitable. That's the thing, man. Like, you know, have you heard this thing about like Netflix is not
profitable?
It's not a good network for longevity anymore, because like they own the shows that they produce like forever. They will be streaming on them. So they'll sign contracts for like 2 or 3 seasons max. And it doesn't matter if the show's a huge hit. They won't renew contracts, because then that means that they'll have to pay everyone more, and it's just cheaper to scrap the show after 3 seasons and keep those 3 seasons on forever, and start, with a bunch of other new projects, rather than pay a lot more to keep that one around for a 4th season. So shows on Netflix don't last that long anymore.
Wow, it's interesting that's a deliberate decision for them, because you kind of, I don't know. That is interesting. Netflix seems like a very interesting company. We still don't know publicly, right? Like their viewership or their viewer numbers. Like, they don't even tell the people who make shit that information.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I think they have how many subscribers? A lot, like hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
How many people?
But a lot of,
Netflix?
When The Irishman came out, famously, right? That came out on Netflix and they did a limited release, but there was the Hollywood Reporter did a roundtable, which I thought was really interesting. They were talking about streaming and movie theaters, and this is before COVID, and how it was affecting things. And there were a bunch of the big studios there, and Netflix and Hulu or Amazon or something. And basically, like, The Irishman had been around for a long time, and it's a Scorsese movie, but it was like, everyone was like, it was kind of an outrageous project because it's like $100 million movie, but it's to use this like de-aging software, and it's like, it's not a movie that like is gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, it's a situational drama that's like 3 hours long, like
Yeah.
that's not like an action comedy movie, so people didn't want to do it. But and the studios were like, we honestly just couldn't financially justify it, like traditional movie studios. But since Netflix doesn't need to be profitable right now, like, they're just trying to build up catalog, and to have an exclusive Scorsese that they own forever is like more valuable to them. And it's just like, wow. So it's like, this movie that people love, like, this might not have existed had the current economy in this moment not existed. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it says Netflix has 167 million subscribers.
Whoa.
And for reference, I know HBO Max, one of the newer streaming services, had 8 million subscribers before they announced that they were going to put all of their movies, all the Warner Brother movies, on their day of
8
release.
million. So 100, you say 167?
167 is what Netflix has.
8.
HBO Max was 8, and they went up to, I think, 13 after announcing that they're going to do all those Warner Brothers releases.
Holy fuck. Netflix is huge. So, okay, so Netflix also, is that $10 a month? Is that what it is right now? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Or 9 is the basic one. I don't remember. I pay for it. I have Netflix and HBO Max right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 8 right now.
But it's interesting because
yeah, but that's like over $1 billion monthly that's coming in pure revenue.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
I know they are international, and HBO Max is US only right now, I think.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like Netflix is at the forefront of the curve in what's happening with the industry. So it's kind of disheartening, I guess, to see that, like, they're not renewing shows that should be renewed, or that another network would have renewed, or that maybe they would have renewed, 6 or 7 years ago, but aren't doing it now. Remember, we were talking about, I don't think this was on air. Was it on air? I was reading Jesse Moynihan's blog.
Oh,
and
a little bit.
And he says that the budget for an episode of Adventure Time was like $300,000.
Wow.
For an 11-minute episode, which, if you do that 4 times over for a regular full-length, like hour-long network show, $1.2 million, which is right up there with any major show on a network on TV that has commercials and shit.
It's just such a mind blower, because obviously that it costs that much to make such an incredible animated show. But it's like, if you're watching these big live action shows, you can kind of picture where the money goes. They had to fly all those people here and like put them all up and and like you can figure out the hard costs. And this one, obviously, so many people had to get hired. We've seen the credits, but like it's you don't think about it.
Yeah, and they take 9 months from beginning to end for an episode to be produced. On that blog post, Jesse was talking about some crowdfunded animation projects that were raising like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do independent cartoons, and they were doing it on far less than like 300,000 an episode, but the timetable was so much longer. It seems like there's maybe an uncertain future for animated shows to go into 10 seasons. You know, I think Adventure Time might be like the last show that does that for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I imagine I tried to watch some different episodes with the or some interviews with the guy who greenlit the show. I forget his name.
Fred Siebert.
Yeah, Fred Siebert. And he, it really sounded like is that they got lucky too. Is that Adventure Time sort of became a flagship show for the new era of Cartoon Network, in a way. Like,
yeah,
there was a lot of weight on it, and with that, then like keeping it around, it's your flagship. You know what I mean? Like, it showed what this network could be. So there's like pride in it that's a little different than just another show, you know. Hey man, industry shop talk. I love this. This is some good miscellaneous.
One of the podcasts that I listen to regularly, and have listened to regularly for the last 5 years, is Kevin Smith's Fat Man Beyond. His co-host, Mark Bernardin, is a writer. He works for a bunch of shows. He's written for Castle Rock, that Stephen King show on Hulu, and that Bourne Identity show. I forget what it was called. And he just did the upcoming season of Star Trek Picard. So he's like a industry writer, like creative guy. And he talks a lot about that kind of, production side of things, in the more like Hollywood world.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting.
Me too.
But yeah, it seems like the model is changing, unfortunately. I really love that show Hilda. It's on Netflix, and it was 2 years in between seasons 1 and 2.
Wow.
And season 2 ended on a crazy cliffhanger, and waiting 2 years for season 3 is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And I hope that it keeps going after that, but who knows what things are going to look like 2 years from now.
Who knows? I hope you get it. I gotta watch that show. It's wild, dude. It's just that's a different kind of a timeline. And just like I was just talking about with the Bernie Sanders memes, how they come and go and in a couple days, and shows are like that. People are just binging these labored over animated shows in a matter of days. Kind of crazy. I hope the world still allows for it, because this podcast has really got me down the animation hole, and I love it.
How are you doing on Steven Universe?
We're in season 4.
Things are starting to rev up, right?
Yeah. Things revving. I mean, now it seems like we're really in the hyperdrive, right? It's this, then a movie, then season 5 epilogue.
6 is the epilogue.
Oh, okay.
So the end of season 5 is like the end of the show proper.
And then the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
The end of season 3, I think, is where all pretense of like, this kid living on the beach in this boardwalk town having a good time, like all of that falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
It's like you are in the thick of it, like the plot keeps moving forward. And
yeah, it was interesting in that in this they started inching. I felt like in the show, and maybe it was in season 3, like end of season 2, and then during season 3, they were inching towards that, where like they were leaving behind Beach City and all the cute, just like fun childhood adventures. And then like after like when Lapis and what's the other what's the bad person's name? Oh fuck, I forget.
Jasper.
Go down. They get like stuck in the ocean, and then it's kind of like they like dust their hands off and then go back to just like having fun in Beach City, and you're kind of like,
Right.
huh? Like I thought that we were somewhere deeper now, but oh yeah, okay, I guess we can go have fun. This is fun too, and they explore some of the more like human stuff, but it definitely feels sort of like we were biding our time for things to get serious again.
Yeah. You know, I've been wanting to just do another rewatch. Even though I just watched it like all the way through, 3 months ago?
Yeah. I was going to say, didn't you just rewatch it when you finished the Banjo-Kazooie
It's
album?
one of those shows I just want to watch all the time. I am watching The Legend of Korra now.
Uh-huh.
Which is the sequel to Avatar. I like it. I like it more than Avatar, which
Wow.
some people on the internet think is a very taboo perspective, but
How about that? How about that? I don't know, dude. I'm getting tired. Can we pick it?
go watch some cartoons.
I gotta go watch some
Fall asleep.
cartoons. I think we need to generate an episode.
Oh, good idea.
What are we gonna watch next week? What are we gonna watch? It's the episode generator.
Alrighty.
All right. Season 5, episode 25, Candy Streets.
We're like staying in this season 5 zone. I kind of like it. It's a good season. It's a long season. We get to explore a little more, lay some more groundwork before we move forward, I think.
Yeah. I don't remember what Candy Streets is about, but we'll find out. Storyboarded by Luke Pearson, who created Hilda.
Hey, god damn, shit just keeps working out.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it. It's got a good name. Maybe I'll go watch some Summer Camp Island.
I finished all the episodes that are available.
That first episode was great. I'm excited.
It's good. I like it a lot. Season 3, they really start getting lore heavy.
Ah, you know I love lore.
Yeah.
That's what I need. All right, my dude. I'm feeling satisfied.
All right.
We got some good discussion in. My lack of notes didn't hurt at all.
Nah, it was good.
Fun. Well,
Notes are for nerds.
Notes are for nerds. It's a good title for your poetry book. Not mine. All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe and do all the internet
Stuff. Tell one friend. Don't forget. Okay, bye.
Peace out, y'all.